everyone, my name is Sarah Lipkowitz. I'm a real estate agent based in Montgomery County, Maryland. I specialize in both residential and equestrian properties. And today I wanted to make a home buyer's checklist. So I actually wrote a corresponding blog post that is based on Oregon Trail because I do think we're getting to a point in time where a lot of millennials are starting to look for their first home. And I know the home buying process can be kind of similarly perplexing and arduous and overwhelming. So I thought that might be a fun way to kind of go through it with you. And I will link to that below. But today I just wanted to give you a general outline and general checklist of what you should expect. I know I might be a bit biased here, but I do feel pretty strongly that the first thing you should do when you're considering purchasing a home is talk to an agent. I think first time home buyer or no, many buyers have a lot of questions before they start the process. Whether it's your first home or, it's not your first home, but it's been a while since you've gone through the process. I think it's really helpful to sit down with and have a conversation either in person or over the phone nowadays with COVID with a real estate agent who can answer your questions and kind of do what I'm doing now, go over the process, what you should expect, how it's going to go, what the market's looking like. And then, you can give that agent a bit more information about what you're looking for, what are your needs versus wants in a property. And I think that's really important to do on the front end. Don't be discouraged if the first real estate agent you talk to, you decide you don't necessarily trust them or even like them. I think buying a home is a deeply personal process. And I think it's really important that you not only trust the agent to do the work and guide you through the process, but that you also like them because you're going to be spending some time with them and you're going to be spending a lot of time talking to them over the next couple months. And again, I really think it's very important that you don't feel obligated to work with the first agent you talk to. If you are taking out a loan, the next thing you should do is talk to a lender and get pre-approved. You're going to need your pre-approval letter to submit with any offer. And it's also really helpful to just talk to a lender and get an idea of what your budget is going to be. And just because they give you a number on your pre-approval doesn't mean you need to or that you should spend that much. It's really important to keep that in mind because, they're just looking at debt ratios. They're not looking at vacations or clothing and things like that. And it's really important that, again, you like and you trust your lender and you feel comfortable with them doing the work and that you feel like they're going to communicate well with your agent. But that's step one, was find an agent. And if you don't know where to start with a lender, any agent should be able to give you some names. Now that you've got your agent picked out and your pre-approval letter, it's time to start seriously looking at homes. And I would advise against really seriously looking at homes until you have these items sorted out, because it really is pretty heartbreaking if you see a home that you love and you're scrambling to find an agent to help you write an offer and scrambling to find a lender to get pre-approved, and then you miss out on the home. I think it's really critical that you hold off until you are really ready to start looking. So you found a home you really love and now it's time to write an offer. And I think this is another piece that buyers kind of balk at a little bit. I had somebody just yesterday say to me, we love this house, we want to write an offer on it, where do we even start? What's appropriate in this situation? What should we be offering? And ultimately, it's your agent's job to walk you through it. They can't make the decisions for you, but they can guide you. You need to make a decision on price. What are you going to offer? On earnest money deposit, on closing date, on inspections. And it really depends. What's appropriate really depends on the market, and it depends on the individual situation. So for a property with multiple offers, you're going to need to find a way to compete, right? So there are, multiple addenda. If you're a buyer coming from rental and you don't have a home to sell, you're already a little bit more competitive than somebody who's contingent. If I call the agent and I find out that the seller doesn't have a new place to go yet, and they're still looking for their new home, I may advise my buyers to get competitive on closing date. If they can accommodate a 60, even 90-day closing as opposed to your typical 30, that may be really appealing to a seller. So there are a number of ways you can be competitive. And, as an agent, I think it's pretty important to call the listing agent and kind of see if I can work out what might make an offer more appealing. I've made some other videos and blogs that go into a bit more detail about what you should expect between ratifying a contract, so getting your offer accepted, and closing. And so I'm not going to get into that too much here, but this is where having a good agent and a good lender and a good title company really come in handy. You need everybody communicating to get you through things like inspections, like appraisal. You need, a really good lender who's on it to make sure your financing gets finalized in time. And There's a lot of things that can go wrong here, and a good team will be used to kind of, writing a deal that's gone a little bit sideways, because they frequently do. Again, it's a lot of moving pieces, a lot of factors, and typically there will be one or two things that are unexpected that come up in a deal, and, just having a team that's able to roll with that and get it done is going to be really important. All right, so you've made it past all the major contingencies. Your financing is finalized. We've gotten the clear to close. It's really important before settlement to reach out to the utilities companies. That means, electric, that means water, that means solar panels. If, they're leased or owned, figuring out how to transfer all the services over to your name starting on the closing date. Don't transfer it immediately, but you need to contact them and let them know that they need to transfer service over to your name on that date. So the last thing on the list is settlement. And within a few days of closing, you will have your final walkthrough where you go through the property, make sure that anything that's supposed to be there is there, and anything that's not supposed to be there has been removed. And essentially just make sure that the condition of the property is as it's supposed to be. And then you will have closing. And I say have closing instead of go to closing, because most title companies nowadays, many title companies nowadays, will actually send a closing agent to the buyer and the seller individually if necessary. We've had clients sign at work, we've had clients sign in a parking lot or at home or on their farm. And, we've also had clients who close from out of town. So if you're moving in from out of town and you can't be in state on that day at that time, no worries, just let the title company know ahead of time and they will send you the documents for signature. You'll get them notarized and sent back in time for closing, and it's not a big deal. So, there are a lot of ways to close on a home, and, settlement should hopefully be one of the least stressful parts of the process. Thank you for watching. Again, my name is Sarah Lipkowitz. I'm a real estate agent based in Montgomery County, Maryland. I specialize in both residential and equestrian properties in Maryland and Virginia.